Greetings, friends and fellow VC community members. It's Mark Anthony K here, and I figured I'm going to put in my little 2 cents about this whole MOFI business that's being talked about. Now, for the longest time, I was thinking not to talk about it because there's already so many people talking about it, but also, to be honest with you, I'm getting a little bit annoyed with it, to be quite honest. Being somebody who's been involved in the music business for a while as well, and somebody who's been in numerous recording studios and, done many things, not only, recording, but also mixing and mastering, and being there firsthand for many mastering sessions and so on and so forth, and even lacquer cutting, believe it or not. I guess the first question that I'm going to tackle, because I'm not going to make this too long, okay? I'm just going to tell you my 2 cents, take it for what it is, and that's that. The big question is MOFI. People are saying that, well, the gentleman from the in-group said that from 2015 onward, MOFI were using digital sources to make their albums. Do we care? I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, do we really care? Because I know the audiophiles are probably already jumping up and down and saying, of course we care. We want analog sources and we want analog this and that. But at the end of the day, if the record sounds good and you're enjoying it, is that really what's most important? I think that is for me. I mean, I consider myself a middle-of-the-road audiophile, okay? I like good sounding records. Do I purposefully hunt them down, and find the best pressings? Yeah, sometimes, but within reason. I'm not the kind of guy to drop $300 for a record. I think that's insane. But hey, for others, if you enjoy doing that and if you like spending that much money, go for it. Now, getting back to this discussion about the MOFI. Now, audio tape is a very touchy thing. Having worked with it numerous times in the recording studios when I was, doing co-oping or when I was actually working in studios, believe it or not, in the late 80s, early 90s, engineers and producers were praying for a time when the audio tapes, the analog tapes would go the way of the dodo bird. I'm serious. They were counting down the days when digital was coming. Because so many times they've had stuff happen, and I know I was in with a studio one time where we were doing recordings, and we got a batch of 3M tape sent in for 24 track, put it on, band's recording. All of a sudden, you look at the needle on the playback machine, and it's like, and the signal starts degrading. Did I say that right? The signal's crapping out, let's just put it that way, on the tape. So you have to completely scrap that, call 3M, see what the hell's going on with this tape. It's not holding source well. And excuse me. And you go on and try to find another tape that actually works and get onto it and record. Basically what I'm trying to say here is analog tape is not what this great thing that everybody thinks it is. Really, I mean, even when you go and master, unless you store this really well and properly, I mean, there's been numerous stories about people having to bake tapes and this and that for it. This is why they wanted to get rid of this stuff, because if you go into digital, the digital end of things was able to hold things better. Sure, at the beginning there was always kind of, a learning curve, and there was some growing pains with digital, but at the end of the day, think about the things that the engineers had to go through. They had to stop, rewind, go back, and the tape would slip sometimes. Okay, digitally, you don't have to worry about that. Dropouts on the tape, you didn't have to worry about that with digital. There's all kinds of things where in digital they were hoping to get rid of analog tape for. The machines, you have to constantly clean them, you have to maintain them. For digital, you just need to have a decent sound interface and a decent computer, and you're up and running. You know, sure, there's things that might break down and you might need to do with digital as well. But overall, I'm telling you, they were just praying for a time for analog to go away. Now, let's go back to the MOFI thing for a second. I have one MOFI album. Rick Wakeman's Journey to the Center of the Earth, original master recording. I believe this is a 2000 release sometime. Yeah, I think it's like sometime in the 2000s this came out. I don't remember. It doesn't say here on there. But anyways, yeah, it's sometime in the 2000s I believe this record came out. Now, it sounds great. Sounds fantastic. Now, this was put out, I'm pretty sure, before 2015. So most likely it could be analog tape. Okay. This here is my Rick Wakeman Journey to the Center of the Earth original Canadian pressing, okay, that I got. That is for sure an analog tape cutting of that record. Does it sound better than that? Yeah, probably, because, you know, they probably re-EQ'd it, made it sound a bit better, and it does sound maybe a touch better than that. Do I think that the MOFI one could have been done on digital? Yeah, and I'll tell you why. If this theory that people were, because don't forget, and I know I'm getting all excited here. Don't forget, when this whole started, it was mainly around the Michael Jackson Thriller album, and saying how a 40 million selling album, you know, if they're going to make 40,000 copies of this album, they're going to have to take the master tape and run it so many times, it's not going to be possible to happen. Which I said that from the very beginning when this first came up. There's no way a record company is going to give an engineer a master tape and have him run it numerous times to make lacquers and that. There's just no way. Okay? And why would you take a tape like that anyways and make it digital? Well, take this album, for example, Rick Wakeman's Journey to the Center of the Earth, okay? And I have the evidence right here. This album has sold 14 million copies worldwide, okay? If you don't believe me, of course you're not going to see it properly. There, 14 million copies. You can just kind of make that out there. Anyways, take my word for it. Now, that tape has probably seen a lot of machines for cutting, for making lacquers, okay? Because that album has been repressed numerous times. Just look at Discogs, okay? So that tape is probably, you know, went the way of the dodo bird, the original one. I'm sorry to tell you, that probably ain't the original tape anymore, okay? Because when you've sold that many copies of an album, you've had to make at least a couple dozen safety backups or whatever for that. Now, with digital, you can just put it on a digital medium like this, and you can make as many lacquers as you want. And guess what? The digital doesn't degrade. There's that word again. It doesn't get shitty. Let's just put it that way. If you keep using it, it doesn't do that, okay? So, at the end of the day, I'm just going to say this. Do I care that MOFI might be using digital? No. Because I know I have probably plenty of albums in my collection that are digital, and they sound fantastic, and I enjoy listening to them. I'm a big fan of CDs. I love CDs. I have tons of CDs, and I even venture to say that I maybe enjoy listening to CDs sometimes a bit more than vinyl. Why? Well, let me see. Do I have something here I can use to show? No, I don't. Anyways, I had here earlier a CD copy of from the Kiss from the Soundboard series. They just released the the Donington version of the show. It's on 2 CDs. That on vinyl has come out on 3 albums, okay? Yeah, I gotta get up and flip the sides, flip the record, flip the side. So I don't mind, I like CDs because I only have to just change a CD once. And if I have a multiple CD player, I don't have to change anything, okay? So CDs have their advantages as well. Don't get me wrong, I love vinyl as well. I wouldn't be making my own vinyl copies of my own music if I didn't love vinyl, okay? But this whole fuss over whether it's analog tape, and oh, Mazzy, in case you do actually watch this, which I'd be shocked if you do, there's no way record labels are going to put that Neil Young identification marker on every single album that comes out. There's just no way. Okay. Too much work, too much research, especially if you're going to go back into the back catalogs and try to source all that stuff. Forget it. It's not going to happen. And that's the thing too. I wonder how many people actually know how many records that we love and talk about so much are digital. Like, take for example, Rush's Moving Pictures. That was one of the first CDs I remember when I saw on there that it was done AAD. ADD, analog recording, digital mastering, and then a digital source for the CD itself. So that is a digital album, my friends. It was digitally mastered. Okay, so Moving Pictures, one of the greatest records of all time that people love and say sounds fantastic. Robert Ludwig did the mastering for it. It's a digital record. Okay, and guess what? Robert Ludwig, he hasn't owned a 1/4-inch analog tape machine in his business now at Gateway, I believe it is, for years now. Mayor Applebaum, one of the more bigger up and coming mastering guys, who's done lots of stuff. Okay, I did an interview with him for the Yes Music podcast. Refuses to get analog tape machines, says it's a waste of time. Says that he can get just as good results doing it digitally with his stuff because he has lots of tube processors, tube compressors, tube equalizers. He said you don't need that stuff. Okay, so come on, people. Let's not get all panicked here over now we're not using analog, or original tapes here. If it sounds good, and there's a lot of good engineers out here that can make this stuff sound fantastic, isn't that at the end of the day all that matters? Thank you. I'll talk to you guys again soon.